So just a very quick intro. Obviously I haven't posted anything on YouTube for the last couple of weeks, and obviously my YouTube videos up until this point have been all about kind of singular locations, singular trips. And while I've enjoyed doing that, my situation is rapidly changing, and that is that I'm spending more and more time on the road. The hope being that within the next sort of 6 months, maybe 12 months, I'll be at 100% on the road, sometimes in the van, sometimes potentially further afield. And so actually what's going to happen on this channel is that my videos are actually going to be more of a continuation of kind of the life as a photographer traveling on the road. Now that may mean that a number of my videos may not contain that many photographs. I'm going to try as much as possible to keep them to 10 minutes, very short, to the point, and really it's just going to be a continuation of my trip. Now, why I'm starting this now is because we're right at the very start of a 3-month trip up into Scotland. Now, right now we're in Yorkshire. I'm going to start this vlog now, even though looking at tomorrow's weather, I don't think that there's going to be any sort of photographs to be taken, but I really want to finally start bringing you guys along to the whole picture, not just those kind of, you know, beautiful moments. Don't get me wrong, I'm looking forward to bringing you along for those beautiful moments as well, hopefully, but I really just want to show you how it quite often is for, I'm sure, a lot of professional photographers out there, with the added sort of little bit in there that I'm actually going to be on the road. This is just a little intro to this week's vlog, or this vlog of it. It's not going to be the same as normal. There might be a lot more kind of, you know, raw stuff going on, because I really want to show you what it's like both behind the scenes and in front of the camera as life as a traveling landscape photographer. Right. Well, good morning again. Welcome to the roadside, well, a little roadside here in Yorkshire. We're just outside Settle, where we stayed last night. And we're just out for a bit of a drive, kind of wildlife hunting from the photographic perspective. And also I'm just checking out some kind of potential compositions. Now, as I said in my little intro to this video, what I'm trying to sort of do now, instead of just taking you out on a single trip, and which ends with a, you know, an image. I was going to say spectacular image, but come on, it's me. An image. Rather, I'm trying to sort of show you just what it's like, the daily life going forward. I'm not sure whether this will work or not, but we'll see. So here, roadside in Yorkshire, and while we were looking for little Isles, actually, I just came across, if you've ever been to Yorkshire, you know that there's just loads of these little stone barns, lone trees, little stone walls, and that can sometimes make for a rather pleasant composition. So while I was up there, I obviously had my trusty iPhone with me and was just doing some little sketches just to see what kind of worked. And while we don't have a great amount of light, it's okay. What we do have is some sort of clouds moving through. And so what I'm actually thinking is I'm going to take the main camera up and just see whether I can, you know, work on one or two of those compositions that I'd sketched out on the phone, and just see whether something works, maybe with a 10-stop in there just to give some movement in the clouds. Thinking already sort of black and white, but we'll take a wander up and see what we can make of it. Oh, isn't that always the way? You're setting up with a particular shot in mind, dark, moody, and then all of a sudden across the way I see a break in the clouds. There's some light happening. Now there's no way I'm going to be able to get my 10-stop on at that point, so I'm really rushing against time, and literally for 2 seconds at most there was light on the wall, light on the barn, and I just had to fire off three exposures. Now thankfully I'd already worked on my composition, I'd already worked on the technical settings, checked the sharpness. Sadly, maybe not so sadly, but I'm only shooting in JPEG mode, so I actually don't mind shooting in JPEG mode, but would have been maybe great to have RAW, maybe a little bit more sort of leverage in terms of that post-processing, but hopefully with those 3 images I might be able to make something of it. The light just on the side of the barn, along with those moody dark skies, kind of worked well, but it was an absolute panic stations. Obviously now the light has gone, however one can be hopeful again that we're going to get this back. Now, as I've said a few times before, one of my favourite formats at the moment is the square format. I think it works really well here. So I've got the wall kind of leading through. Careful not to let the wall lead the sort of eye out of the frame, and purposely kind of cutting off the wall at a certain point. And then there's, I think, 2 compositions that might work here. One with the gnarly tree, and then one without the gnarly tree, both with the barn. So I'm at about 35mm, so about 50mm in old money, f13, and I'm going to be putting on the 10 stop now, and hopefully getting maybe 15-20 seconds, which might just be enough to give me a little bit of movement in those clouds. And fingers crossed, when I get the 10 stop on, we'll have a little bit of that light back. So actually, what I thought was going to work as an image, the longer exposure, just wasn't really working. Couldn't really get the exposure long enough to really make those clouds move. An exotic location for a landscape shoot, these massive construction vehicles thundering past. But actually what I'm hoping did work is just that moment, those 2 seconds, and that's in fact all we've had. You know, I've been standing here now, sort of getting ready, composing, the sketching work beforehand, probably for about an hour. Spitting with rain, not much light, clouds not really doing a lot, 2 seconds of light, and thankfully I think I've maybe captured something that might work. So I'm going to pack away, take a wander down to the van, and I'll take a quick look at seeing how those images look. Let's head down there. So just back in the van now and just downloading those images that I've just taken. As I say, really keen to see how that shot I got just as the light was hitting has come out. Don't normally do this actually, don't normally sort of download, normally leave the images on the camera, but it's quite interesting to see how it worked out. So, and what's interesting as well is sitting back here, I've actually seen another potential composition. Again, with all of these stone walls, excuse all the crazy construction traffic flowing through, with all of these lovely little stone walls, it's just composition aids after composition aids, those lead-in lines, those repeating lines that give depth. I'll show you what I'm talking about here with a quick iPhone picture through the windscreen. But yeah, just the lines leading up, and the bigger tree maybe balanced against the smaller tree, and then again that little stone shed, and again potentially with those clouds moving across. There might even be another one there to add. Well, actually, come to think of it, I've actually got some, just like I was saying there, I've actually got some images on here that I haven't downloaded from a few weeks ago. So let me do that along with today's, and I'll get back to you in 2 minutes. So just looking at these 3 images now in Lightroom, the 3 exposures that I took, I quite like that. And yeah, just that little bit of light and just a little gap in the brighter clouds, kind of just, again, just pointing, leading the eye, hopefully, down into that stone barn. And of course, with the little moment of light that we had, it just brings out all of those textures in that lovely stone. So pleased with it. Even though I've taken 3 exposures there, I don't think I'll need all 3. I think I potentially could get away with just one of them, which was the base exposure, but I might use the base exposure and I might use the underexposed image just to bring out a bit more of the drama in those clouds. So reasonably pleased. As I thought, the other ones with the long exposure just haven't worked. There's not enough texture in the clouds, and that's what you've got to be careful of when you're doing long exposure, that you kind of know which clouds to work with, and clearly these were not the clouds to be long exposured today. So good stuff. Right, enough playtime. I'm going to have to do a little bit of other work that sustains my on-the-road lifestyle, and have some lunch as well. So we'll catch up again in a bit. But 2 seconds of light, that's all we need.